Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Jerm here. As you guys can see on the screen today, I want to talk a little bit about Sofi Technologies Incorporated. This is ticker symbol SOFI for those of you who are maybe not as familiar with this stock or with this company. And today obviously was not so great of a day for Sofi. We opened pretty red, opening at 598 after closing at 611 yesterday. We shot up into the green. I mean, from open to here, we were up almost 4%. But then obviously came crashing back down and then just kind of traded flat for the rest of the day. Again, ending up down 2.78%. Going into the weekend, we'll have to see how that momentum carries us over into next week. But the interesting thing here, obviously being the fact that the whole market was not doing so well today. The Dow Jones was down 2.73%. The S&P was down 2.19%. We had the NASDAQ down 3.52% and the Russell down 2.73%. So really, all things considered, Sofi didn't have that terrible of a day. I mean, this is pretty in line with the broader market and the other major indices. Yes, they were a little bit lower than the Dow, a little bit lower than the Russell, but they weren't as down as some of the other major indices. So overall, just kind of an interesting day for Sofi. Obviously not a good day, but when you're keeping in line with the major indices, it's also not a terrible day either. It's not necessarily time to panic, but we do have all kinds of different stories that we're going to be talking about today. So let's get right into those. We have this from investorplace.com. They said Sofi stock won't stay this inexpensive for much longer. Their subtitle here is insiders are buying Sofi stock and analysts are adjusting their targets. Sofi trades at a deep discount, providing a unique opportunity, at least according to them. And they said the CEO has bought more shares of the company in hopes that a turnaround is imminent. Obviously, we've covered this a lot on my channel. The fact that, yes, Anthony Noto has been buying shares really throughout most of 2022. He's got them at all different kinds of prices. I feel like he's bought at like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and as low as like $4. I know he ended up buying pretty close to the 52-week low of $4.82. So obviously we're at 594. Most of the shares he's bought, he is down on, but there is definitely some shares he's gotten under 594 that he's up on as well. But either way, when your CEO and when your insiders are buying, it doesn't necessarily mean the stock's about to go up, especially in the short term. But I think long term, it's overall a good sign. I think it's a better sign than not when a CEO or any kind of major higher up is buying, any kind of C-suite executive or anything like that. So that's kind of cool. And then they say some analysts believe that investors have underestimated the earnings potential. And obviously that's something that a lot of Sofi shareholders and a lot of people who really believe in Sofi in the long term and in the short term, something they would definitely agree with as well. So it was kind of interesting to see Investor Place talking about this. You guys should definitely check out this article if you want to read more into this. We also have the Motley Fool, Fool.com. Sofi is contemplating a reverse stock split. Here's what investors need to know. Now, this is a little bit of an old story. This is something we've covered before, but as we get closer and closer to this date where the vote is going to go down, this becomes more and more of a talking point. They say Sofi is proposing an amendment at its upcoming annual meeting. The amendment would give the company's board the power to do a reverse stock split sometime over the next year if they choose to. And Sofi said a reverse stock split could increase investor interest. Now, obviously, this is a little bit interesting because reverse stock splits are usually not a positive thing. They're usually done by companies that are, not performing very well. They're usually done on companies that their price is going down and down and down and down. So they have to reverse stock split to kind of save their stock price, make it appear higher, make it appear better, to stay out of the penny stock conversation or to stay out of the super tiny stock you need to stay away from conversation. But again, it doesn't change the fundamentals. It doesn't change the business. It doesn't change anything like that. So if your company was sucking before a reverse split, it's likely going to keep sucking and keep going down. Obviously, Sofi is a stock that has definitely not performed that great. Year to date in 2022, we're down 62%. So, they check off the one box of a stock that's just going down and down and down. But the interesting thing here for Sofi is obviously this has been in an overall downward market. This is, year to date, the S&P is down like 14, 15, 16%, something like that. So a lot of this isn't necessarily to blame on Sofi. It's kind of the overall market condition. So maybe that changes things. Maybe that makes a reverse split a little bit more appetizing or appealing. I don't know for sure. But here is the 3 reasons why Sofi says they are doing it. The first is to generate greater interest for the stock by appealing to a wider range of investors. The company notes that a higher share price may make the company more attractive to brokerages or institutional investors that do not recommend low price stocks to their clients or do not hold lower price stocks. The second reason is to improve the perception of SoFi common stock as an investment security. And the last reason is for considering the reverse stock split is that a higher stock price may draw in new talent and partnerships. Stock prices are an important indicator of financial strength, so perhaps management feels they're losing out on talent and partnerships because of the lower share price. So this is very, very interesting. I think this annual meeting is going to be on July 12th. That's when this vote will take place. Again, the interesting thing to note here is that this vote is not whether a reverse stock split is going to happen. This vote is whether or not they want to give the board the ability to reverse stock split, I believe, over the next year, and it can be anywhere between a 1-to-2 or a 1-for-2 to a 1-for-10 stock split. Again, doesn't mean it's going to happen. It just means do the shareholders want to give them the ability to do that if they see fit? So we'll have to see how that all goes down. Again, there's definitely some arguments to be made on the good and the bad side of it overall. So we'll have to see how it ends up getting voted on. This is really interesting from the SoFi stock subreddit. SoFi is now at $2.2 billion in deposits as per Chris's interview with Piper Sandler today. They're now at $2.2 billion in deposits. They're growing that by over $100 million per week. So this is really, really cool. Obviously, the top comment, thanks for the great news. We should drop 25% now. And yes, this news came out yesterday. I don't know if I even checked how SoFi did yesterday. I mean, it's just kind of been down all week. Wednesday closed at 666. So it was still down Thursday. So yeah, I mean, this news hasn't really done anything for the stock price. It's obviously gone down since then. But this is a very, very big deal. It's showing that, them becoming a bank really is helping them build up those deposits. That just means, they're going to be able to make more money. They're going to be able to do more things with it. This is a very, very great sign. And if this growth continues, who knows if it'll continue to grow at this rate or whatever. But just seeing steady, continual growth over time is going to be a very, very good sign. So this was definitely good to hear. We also have this. This is just kind of funny. The irony, the SoFi News puts out the fact that SoFi is contemplating a reverse stock split. Here's what investors need to know. And then I thought this was interesting too, because the top comment says in that interview that we just talked about that Crystal Point said they had $1.5 billion in deposits at the end of the first quarter, and that today they have $2.2 billion in deposits. So that just kind of shows how fast deposits are growing as well. And then, yeah, obviously we already talked about this reverse stock split stuff, but yeah, SoFi News was kind of putting that out to everybody. Motley Fool on the reverse stock split, they had some quotes. They said, however, I do find it a little odd to see SoFi considering a reverse stock split right now. SoFi has plenty of analyst coverage, improving financials, and a lot of positive sentiment overall among investors despite the sell-off. And I do think them talking about the reverse stock split and stuff like that is overall a negative thing for the stock price in the short term. But I do also believe that just because they are having this vote, it doesn't even mean that they want to do a reverse stock split. It maybe just means that they want to have the option to be able to do it just in case, them taking a precautionary measure still, again, doesn't necessarily mean that they're even considering it. But I also understand them being a little bit worried because, the stock has already gone down a lot, and now people are still talking about, recession fears, depression fears, a really, really long, potential years long of the market kind of suffering. And if SoFi stock is doing this bad right now, how's it going to look if we go through a couple more months or a couple more years of like a recession or a depression or something like that? The stock could go down further and further and further, and it could end up being a penny stock or something like that. So they just want to have more options and power on their side, and I think that's pretty understandable. We also have this. This is from SoFi Goodboy on Twitter. He says, BNPL on the MasterCard installment program, which has 8 partners in the United States. Barclays, US, Fifth Third, FIS, Galileo, which is obviously owned by SoFi, Huntington, Marqeta, SoFi, and Synchrony. 2 out of the 8 are SoFi, obviously. And they're saying that this is a potential Apple to SoFi backdoor hookup. So obviously this could potentially be a really, really good thing. This would be a cool thing where they start to, build up their different partnerships, build up their different connections and stuff like that. And again, it just shows, that SoFi actually does own a lot of different stuff that's making money in a lot of different ways, and they're going to have a lot of different opportunities to grow different businesses, different ventures, and different opportunities. And then, of course, it's from 2 days ago, so not brand new, but the Noto buying spree continues. I don't know if it shows exactly, it's very small, so I don't know if we have the exact number of what he purchased or whatever, but we do have, looks like, this is obviously the transaction date of 6/8, But yeah, just showing the fact that he is still buying more shares, and this is obviously something we talked about a little bit already, that he's been buying throughout the entire year, but he's just kind of doing more and more. It says the price here like 6,649 won, but it's really, really blurry, so it's hard for me to see, so I can't read it super well. But again, the buying spree does continue. Some people think it is a good sign. Some people think it doesn't really matter at all. Some people think, maybe it's a bad sign. Who knows? But just kind of giving that information out to you guys. But that is pretty much it for this video today. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about SOFI. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.